Welcome back to WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We're positively in Salisbury, Maryland, with the mayor of Salisbury, Jake Day, joining us again. It's an annual tradition. We're here at Mogan's Oyster House. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery, the Show Me $10,000 scratch-offs. I'll have these in Eldersburg next week at Liberatories. I'll have them next Friday at Rock Salt Grill. We will also have them at Costas Inn in Dundalk with Westmore on the 30th of the month. Kindness. We could all use a little bit more kindness. We had... And this is the highest tribute I can pay to you, Grace Foxwell Murdock, that we got together 54 weeks ago, that at the end of the year, I run like a best of. You know, I take a week off and I kind of chill it out, usually after the Super Bowl. And I try to find the best pieces that have the most meaning through the course of the year. And yours made the cut.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, we have a thing on the internet now. We call it favorites.
Oh.
So you are a favorite of mine.
Oh, thank you. Please send me that link.
Well, it's been another 54 weeks. And, Mayor, you're going to find this hard to believe. I have not met another Secretary of Kindness. I'm still waiting to meet the second Secretary of... I want to be a Secretary of Kindness just to join your club.
Here's what I'm confident in.
Go ahead.
You won't.
Ever?
You won't. Well, eventually. I hope it catches on. But, I know we were the first, and it's because we take this seriously. We take it seriously that we should be a city that lives our values, and one of the values that, Grace has helped to share with all of us is that we should all be a little kinder to each other. And government leaders can demonstrate that just like a business leader and just like community leaders, teachers, et cetera.
How did all this happen? Tell the story again. Well, go ahead, Grace.
This really happened because I started some kindness on my own through a kindness bracelet, and it morphed into doing things for the community because all my proceeds, after the materials costs were paid, I donated it to the community.
When did this start?
For kind acts. It started in 2013, but it ramped up after 2017 when Wicomico Grows Kindness nonprofit began, and then I've always been with the mayor. In 2016 was my first yes that really gave us the power to go forward when we wanted to have the first Dance for Kindness in Salisbury through Life Fest Inside. It's a worldwide flash mob. We haven't done it for 2 years. We're about to do it again.
Did you do it virtually or no?
Oh, no. We did it on North Division Street right in front of the government office
during
building.
The plague, though.
Another one of those great events, though, right here.
Yes,
in the center
right in
of the...
downtown Salisbury.
Right.
And we had 250 dancers, 250 observers, and each year, for 4 years straight, we had over 500 attendees to this. And it is the best community unity event that we put on through Kind SBY, which is our Kindness Commission for Salisbury, Maryland. And we have approximately 18 kindness commissioners right now who do their work in the community on their own. But as a group, we see a need and we address that need. And the best thing about this, Ness, is that other cities could replicate this. It could be very easily done in small parts of cities or in whole cities. We're lucky that we have a very generous community, and they follow the lead. When we offer them something positive, they are on board.
What was the inspiration, the nugget that said we can do this, not just door to door? I mean, come on, we have churches, we have lots of charity, we have lots of community people doing Kiwanis clubs. We have things in this country where people are doing good things. But the notion that a community could come behind a concept like kindness.
That's right.
Did you see this in a movie? Was this Mr. Holland's Opus or something? Like,
well,
seriously, Pleasantville?
The sad part of this is that often out of tragedy, positivity and hope is born.
That's Baltimore Positive.
And it happened because of Sandy Hook in Connecticut. I started a bracelet business. And from that, it was bred through the schools, through the community, through our churches, because we have churches who are partners with all our schools. And whenever we see something, I brought speakers here. Orly Waba, who is the originator of the Dance for Kindness, came and spoke to several of the schools. She received a coin from the mayor, from the city. It has just taken on a life of its own. We also sought the first World Kindness USA City designation through World Kindness, and we are the first city in our nation to have that moniker, and it's on our lamppost, First World Kindness USA City.
All right. You get my brain moving around things like kindness. Like, I'm like, Could you get the Sesame Street people here? You know what I mean? Who's known for kindness?
Well,
in the
Mr.
world?
Rogers.
Right.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
I was in Latrobe, Pennsylvania 6 days ago.
Yes.
On the tour. I went up
Okay.
to Steelers practice, and they were kind to me. And I know that's hard for a lot of Ravens fans to believe, but the Steelers people were very kind to me. And we went up to Latrobe, and not only the Arnold Palmer Airport there, but everything there is named for Fred Rogers, right?
Yes.
It's the Fred Rogers Center, and it's more than an education center. I mean, his platform was kindness, and
absolutely,
being a neighbor.
and inclusivity, and bringing everybody on board. There are certain segments of Mr. Rogers that if you watch them, you will never forget them.
Oh, I don't think the
Mr. Rogers and
African-American
the
police
and the
officer
mailman. Yes,
feet in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tub. All there was a mailman. I'm sorry, it was an officer.
And after Sandy Hook, people posted on Facebook that Mr. Rogers' mother told him when he was young that whenever there's a tragedy, look for the helpers. And I was compelled to be a helper, and then I have had everyone gather with me, and I'm very proud of our city and our communities.
You're lucky to have people like this here,
course we
Jake
are.
Day. Come on.
Of course we are, and that's why we had to enlist her into an official role, like the position of Secretary of Kindness. I mean, because here's the truth. The things that people are used to when they think of government they're cold, they're unresponsive, they're mean, they fight with each other, it's political, all those negative, nasty things.
Put red
we don't
tape in
have
there.
to.
Put red
I mean,
tape.
and red tape, yep. It doesn't have to be those things. It doesn't
No.
have to be. We can live our values. Doesn't mean we'll always get it right or be perfect, but that's why she's looking over our shoulder to remind us how to get it right.
And I want you to know that the City Council signed a unanimous agreement to write kindness in their resolutions, in their documents, because if it isn't written down, it won't happen. The most recent thing Kind SBY just supported was Comfort for Kids, and that was items that the police officers will put in their trunks, and when there is an encounter and children are present, they have a comfort item to hand to the children from the police officer, so they can see our officers in a helping status, not just a status of breaking something up or helping out in a crisis.
Well, they're doing it down here in Salisbury. Mayor Jake Day's here. The Secretary of Kindness is also here, Grace Foxwell Murdock. We're at Mogan's Oyster House, which came highly recommended when I was in all these communities. I'm looking. I don't want to offend anybody when I'm in Deep Creek Lake by having a crab cake here or not there. The crab cake place we picked on Monday night turned out to not have crab cakes at the time. It was a crab house that didn't have crab cakes. I had to call an audible. Then I went to the brewery, and the brewery had a sign up, we're under renovations this week. And I'm like, so I had to call another audible. So thank goodness for the folks down at the food market in Hamden and Checker Spot Brewery for taking care of us. We're going to be at Burnish tonight. We're going to be at Evolution tonight. We're going to be at RAR, at Ten Eyck, Cinnapuxon, and Burley Oak on the Eastern Shore in the coming days. I got big words about kindness. My favorite crab cake was Angelina's in Baltimore when I was a kid, right? And if you go to angelinas.com, it pops up crabcake.com. The guy that owned the restaurant, owns the recipe. He makes them in Kent Island. That's where his facility is.
Okay.
And he's just shipper only. He doesn't have a storefront. You can only get the Angelina crab cake. And we've been 2 years back and forth. Saturday, he's getting 4 crab cakes, me and a slim
your
man.
crab cakes?
On the way back, I'm going. So we're doing the whole Eastern Shore thing right, and we're going to be down in Ocean City paying respect to my dear friend Batman, who we've lost along.
That's right.
Did you know Mike?
Oh, no, but I didn't. But I grew up here, so I grew up hearing Batman on the radio. And
I'm going to be a little freaky because I haven't been to Ocean City in the last 30 years without getting together with Mike. And I don't mean at a bar where he's there. I mean like Mike and I get together.
Yeah.
Always. I don't know how I'm going to drive across that bridge. Yeah, it's going to be weird.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it's
it's
tough.
going to be really weird. So we're in Salisbury talking about old friends, stuff like that. So this event that you have where 500 people chain themselves to the building and swear kindness for everyone, when is this day? I want to know about this.
Well,
When's this gonna happen?
we've extended it this year to call it Kindness Palooza with the Dance for Kindness embedded in it, which will be filmed.
I'm
and
doing
it
Chicken
appears.
Palooza right now with Royal Farm.
Oh yeah, me too. I do Chicken Palooza. Are you kidding me?
I did it with Mike Tomlin the other day. So
but
it's called Kindness
Palooza, and what will happen is that businesses and nonprofits will come. Everything is free, but at their table, as they are giving out their information about what they do, they have to do a kindness activity. And they are usually going to be easily replicated in our schools, because we have Kind SBY does a great deal with our schools to promote kindness. This last school year, we did an Adopt a School program where individuals and businesses adopted a school and blessed them 4 different times during the school year with food, with games, with puzzles, with anything that we could do to boost morale.
Well, more than that, you're
And-
teaching children about kindness.
That's right.
Well,
Well, if they feel like they're being treated kindly, they're going to pass it on to people around them.
It's been a tough time for everybody, but over the last few years, teachers have taken a beating. And so the fact that people in our community were willing to step up and say, I'm going to make things, I'm going to bring things, I'm going to show up for each school and bless every single school in our community, every high school, middle school, elementary
27.
school, all of them, is really incredible and a testament to what Grace and her team have brought about. I mean, I don't want to say engendered in the community because I think it was already there. That
Yes.
kindness existed, but they've brought it out into the open so people are demonstrating it. And that's the way it gets repeated.
What's an act of kindness that, like, is it homework? If I called you every morning, could you?
Oh,
I need a mother.
Listen.
I don't have a mother
Here's
anymore.
an
I
act-
lost my mother 5 years ago yesterday, so I need a mother.
Here's an act of kindness, Ness.
Oh, look at this.
This is a mug called Be Kind on the outside,
this.
and it is a giving mug. There are things inside that you give out to people. So as the giver, you receive kindness in your heart, and as the receivers will also.
I try to make people smile. I don't
There
know if
you
you've
go.
noticed that or
You
not.
do.
Well,
That's sort of my thing.
You
That's a
can
good-
call it a
that's a great
smile
way
mug,
to-
but these are things to give away.
Oh, look at this. She called me beautiful. Isn't that nice? Look at that. That's perfect.
That's for your mirror.
Mary, I know you got to get out of
Hey,
here.
I do.
Mike's
I
going to
do.
come in here.
We're going to do a hot swap.
No, we're going to do hot swap, and thank you for your kindness.
Of course.
You guys are
My
great,
pleasure.
and I will let Emily know that she's still not the. She's still
Well,
the Jake Day of.
Look, it's good to have things to aspire to. Tell her to keep reaching for the stars.
What you need in this
She's-
town.
She's got to reach.
This town
No,
needs a
she's-
donut joint that opens at 7 p.m.
That's right.
That's what this town
Look,
needs.
she's doing wonderful things out in Hagerstown.
She
We're
is.
proud of her over there. I'm all joking aside. She's doing good things, and you're right. That's what we need. We need a donut shop like that. So I'm going to swap out with Mike. Thank you, Ness, for coming to downtown
The
Salisbury.
mayor.
We appreciate
Jake
you.
Day here.
Thanks for coming to
I'll
Mogan's.
pop his mic down here a little bit. Grace, there we go. Grace Murdock said, come on in here. We'll make room for you. She is the Secretary of Kindness. Mike sort of runs the joint down here. You got
Right.
a pie story before we get going here.
Yes, we do.
Because I'm going to get the crab cake in here. This is the crab cake here at Mogan's, and I'll show this momentarily, and I'm going to dine on this and enjoy this. I thought I was having a crab cake with the mayor, but we did too much talking and scootering, and he's scootering out of here at this point. I thought this said party pooper.
No.
It said it's party popper.
Party
I was going
popper.
to say, how do you know I'm a party pooper?
And it's easy to clean
I'm
up.
up past 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm going to breweries tonight and hanging out.
It won't scare you too bad.
All right, before I bring Mike in here, and which I will do, you told me about, because I mentioned Crumpy's, and I talked about 7 p.m. Donuts in Hagerstown, and you said to me I had to have ugly pie.
Absolutely. Ugly Pie has been highlighted on MPT as one of the premier
see
dessert
this.
places in the state of Maryland. And it was started in these 2 wonderful women, Shayna and Heather's Kitchen, and it has morphed into the Ugly Pie, which has a standalone storefront on near Brew River. So when you want to see a line, you go before every holiday. People pre-order.
Banana
and they,
cream?
Oh, yes. They are around the corner. People are down the street and around the corner to purchase their pies. And just take a look
See,
at this.
this is something you don't know about me.
This is a raspberry
Oh, look at this.
delight. Look at
this.
that.
Raspberry crumb. Look. This is what you get when you come to small towns, man. You get legit stuff. We were up in Frederick. We had a little bakery. We got croissant, and we did. I had some fresh cookies and stuff. But we were driving out of Latrobe on like day 6 or 7 when I was up with the Steelers, and we're a little back road, beautiful rolling hills, going toward like Greencastle and Hagerstown. We're still on the Pennsylvania side, and my wife's driving along, and I'm passing her. Look up, pie shop, place called The Pie Shop. And it looked like a chain. And I'm like, we were in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know what town it was. You can Google it, The Pie Shop, SHOPPE. And we did one of those, whoa. You know, we turned the car around, went back in. And I went in there and I bought me, they called it a snazzleberry. Snazzleberry.
Oh.
It was blueberry, raspberry, and I'm missing a berry, blackberry. So I took, it was this size right here. It was about $6.50. I took it home. I kept it in the box, and I got Wise Market sponsored. I'm going to the Wise Ice Cream Factory next Thursday at Salisbury, PA.
lucky
It's part of
you.
the tour. So in work, duty calls. So I took French vanilla ice cream right on top of that.
Yes.
So,
what could be wrong with that? Nothing.
well, I'm gaining weight because
Oh.
of people like you on this thing. Grace is here. She is the Secretary of Kindness of Salisbury. It is a unique denomination. She has given me the Be Kind mug. We've had the mayor here. We've had Carl Anderton here. Now we're going to have Michael. What's your last name? Because I didn't look it up. Oh, hold on. Hold on. There you go. There, I got to put your mic up. How are you?
Come back on. I'm Mike Daly.
You've been nice to me from the minute we got here, Reagan. Everybody's been, Noe's been great to me. I picked this place sort of Googling what normal people like me do when I travel. When I was in Europe a couple weeks ago, I'm like looking for, a good shepherd's pie or a good Irish joint or whatever I want. I Googled crab cakes, and you guys popped up. And I went online and looked, and I said, this place is lovely. And when I talked to the mayor a couple weeks ago, said, I want to come back to Salisbury. Do you know the folks? And he's like, oh, sure, I know Brad. Give him a note. I love the genesis and the history of all of these spaces, and what makes a crab cake unique. Because I'm looking at that crab cake, and it's different than the one I had last night, different than the one the night before. Everybody does them differently.
Everybody does them differently.
What is this?
So this
Let's talk about the Mogan's crab cake here.
This is our crab cake entree. It's the our house-made crab cake, which we'll talk about in just a second. That's served over a bed of grilled zucchini, some squash conserva, which is like a gentle pickling of squash in oil.
So that's the liquid at the bottom.
That's the liquid at the bottom.
It looks like a little bit of like a squash soup, maybe? Like a little bit of that, or
it's
no?
thickened with, there's a little bit of chicken stock in there, too, so that's what makes it a little bit more fuller. But then we have some.
See, anybody can throw a crab cake on a brioche, or you know what I mean? Like,
no,
even
we pride ourselves on
this
being
is
particularly
unique.
technique-driven food. That's really what we go for, and we particularly for this, we try to keep the menu as seasonal as possible.
Look at those
so
tomatoes. Got giant breadcrumbs in there.
Oh yeah, we've got the olive oil croutons in there as well. It's actually inspired.
I
by
called an olive oil crouton a breadcrumb.
I mean, it's
I'm
all
sorry.
right. We're teaching you. It's fine. That's what we're
It
here
looks
for.
like a breadcrumb. Does it not look like a breadcrumb?
It looks delicious.
All right, there you go.
But it's actually, this is inspired by
Olive oil
crouton.
Yeah,
This is inspired by a panzanella salad. So it's that the bread and the tomato and the veggies with the oil and this, we just want
Well, how am I
something
going to eat it if I frame it?
I mean, it's yours to do with as you please.
Once
we're
you
here
buy
to make
crab
sure.
cake, it's yours to keep.
Yeah.
The oyster part of this and being an oyster house, I want you to speak a little bit about that. I mean, I've had friends. My friend Brian McComas has Riley's Oyster and beds down in Chickatink and give me the oyster background of this because crab houses are everywhere. We don't have a lot of oyster houses in Maryland. We really don't. Like, for being an oyster state, there's 100 crab houses for every oyster house there is. But oysters, man, people love them. I love them. I like them raw. I like them steamed. I like them charbroiled. And they are also a huge part, as I've learned, in the grasses and the oxygenation. If we don't have oysters, we will not have crabs, right?
Very
absolutely.
important.
So it's very, very important to the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to go snakehead fishing out here on the Nanticoke tomorrow. My buddy got COVID, so I'm not going. But he also, he's a man of the water. He respects the water. Oysters are the oxygen. They're the thing that makes all this stuff happen,
They
right?
They clean the water. It's what they do. I agree with you 100%. It's kind of odd that in a state that does as much oysters as Maryland does.
Is there an oyster state, or is that like Rhode Island or something?
I
You know what I
don't
mean?
know.
Like, who would call themselves an oyster state? Prince Edward Island. I've told my Prince Edward Island story before.
Oh, so that's,
You do their oysters here?
We have PI.
Yeah,
we got those.
everybody's
Oh,
got
yes.
those.
They're famous for them. I mean, you gotta.
Well, they're famous for hockey players, and they're also, if you've ever been there, they're famous for a bridge. Do you know about this?
I have not, no.
So Prince Edward Island was a Smith Island.
Yeah.
Literally Smith Island, right? But bigger. But the only way the kids could go to school was to get on a boat,
By
right?
boat.
Right. They have a town in Prince Edward Island that people, but to leave the island, you had to take a ferry for hundreds of years. And in the early 90s, the richest man in Prince Edward Island gave, Sam Walton gave the money to build this bridge so that people could then drive into the mainland of Canada. So they built this bridge, and we went up there, and had every intention of going across the bridge. Every intention of doing it. I have hockey player friends that are from there that were all encouraging me. I had visions of wanting to go and do it. We went. It was like $46 to go over the bridge. So we didn't go over the bridge. So all my friends from PE Island are pissed. They're like, "We built the bridge. We built the bridge of kindness." And the weirdest part is we watched the movie. We did the little lighthouse, and we were all inspired. People died building the bridge. The whole deal, right? And then we didn't go over because we were like, we're paying $50 to have lunch just to cross the bridge,
I mean.
And then my buddy Doug McLean, who's a psychologist and former NHL hockey, who's from there, he got very angry at me. He said, "So if the ferry was $15, you would have done it. And it would have taken all day. And he said, instead, you were a cheapskate. You didn't get to come see my town. So I have a Prince Edward Island story. But like Chickatink oysters and where you source them from, and I'm sure you have oyster connoisseurs here in Salisbury that come to your place.
We sure do.
You are the oyster place in Salisbury.
We are. And we do our best to source as locally as humanly possible. Our, for lack of a better term, house oyster is a company called Honest Oysters, and they're actually from a town called Snow Hill, which is 20 minutes down the road. I mean, so we get
My parents took me to Snow Hill to see the deer when I was a little boy. There were deer in Snow Hill.
Oh, there's deer everywhere. It's Maryland.
There was video of that. No, but there was like a farm there when I was a kid.
Oh.
Yeah, like, when I was a really little kid.
Right.
So that's all I know about Snow Hill, that I was there when I was little.
I believe you.
But I was over there. I came back from Nag's Head in the Outer Banks. We drove across the bridge tunnel.
Yeah.
Now, so my wife's from New Hampshire. So I said to her, we're going to get out of North Carolina. When you come back, we'll meet my friend Anita, which we did. We met her right here in Salisbury, right on the south side of town. Another place had a good crab cake that I did not make it to, but I will. And my friend Anita lives right locally to here. And I said, look, we'll see Anita, and we'll drive across the bridge tunnel. And my wife's like, what you talking about? I was like Arnold, what you talking about? And I'm like, no, it's a bridge tunnel. And she's like, you're making that up.
Oh, no.
She's like, that's like the pool in high school on the roof, right?
Yeah.
You're just making. I'm like, no. There's
It's
just
beautiful.
Bay
It's a real
Bridge
thing.
Tunnel.
Oh, I
There's
love it.
amazing how many people in Baltimore don't know it exists.
Really?
No. I mean, why would you cross it?
There's no reason.
And it's the damnedest thing because there's like a long, like people like the Keys in Florida. You know, it's like one giant bridge. It's sort of like that, but people didn't know, and that's the only time I've been to Snow Hill. And the thing that I noticed on that little peninsula on the Virginia Chickatink up toward Assateague, right, of Snow Hill, the whole area, is how historic the train. The train railroad runs
Sure.
right next
yeah.
to the road there, and you can really see the way commerce in this country began. And to your point, oysters are the sweet bread of all of that over there, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's and you were saying that your buddy around here is a waterman. It's like, I mean, the watermen around here they've been here as long as the chicken farmers. I mean, like, it's been...
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's been the lifeblood of the economy for going back as far as you can go. I mean, it's one of those things that everybody... I mean, girls I dated in high school, their fathers and their families grew up, pulling from the Nanticoke River. It was stuff like that. I mean,
everybody's pulled an oyster and eating it fresh here.
Oh, absolutely. I remember.
See, I've never bourdained that thing. We were going to do snakehead fishing tomorrow. He said we catch one early, we'll cook it right on the boat. We'll do it all up, and I'm like, yeah, I've never really fished like that. I crabbed when I was a boy, but I've never. An oyster, a scallop, a shrimp. I've never, I've fished a little bit, but I did fly fishing out in Western Maryland, which was the best. Last year was great. But oystering and the whole notion of oystering, I've been going to bull and oyster roast my whole life and shucking in the back and cocktail, the whole deal. But the notion of how different they all are.
Oh,
like the salinity, the taste, the texture, all of that. It's like wine. It's like craft beer. It's literally just like that, and I don't learn a lot about it. That's why I had you on. I'm like, we're going to have an oyster guy, and let's learn about oysters a little bit. What should I know when I come in and say, do I want the PEIs or do I want the whatever the names of all these funny little oysters are?
The first thing I would do is always consult with the staff to see what anybody. This is what I do everywhere I go, no matter what, and it's what's your favorite. Because I always want to know, like, what's the local one? What's the one that...
I want a big fat one. I want a saltier one.
Exactly.
I want a meaty one, right?
So we have people who come in all the time, and, they want the northern oysters because they're, from the colder water, so they're a little bit less briny. So when you get stuff from, like, the further south you go, the water's a little bit warmer, so you get a little bit more salinity. So those are the saltier of the oysters that come in.
That'd be the same for the crabs. You pull a crab out of Louisiana or Texas, it's going to have a saltiness that a Maryland sweet... North water, the brackishness of the water, the brackishness clearly would affect an oyster, right?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, for sure. But it's like you said, like with wine and beer, like everybody's going to experience them differently. So it's all about what you want. So, I recommend everybody tries as many oysters as they possibly can, as many different kinds. But it's about finding, do you like the meaty? Do you like the firm? Do you like the salty, the sweet, and it's just about finding which ones you go. And it's like I said, the honest oysters that we pull, I find they're very down the middle with, they're about even as far as the salinity and the sweetness go. And I think it's a great beginner oyster for just introducing people. I've been shocked at the number of my friends who didn't eat raw oysters before they came here. And it's always kind of one of those ones
Well, the cocktail's sort of like a training wheel, like it's like a.
I agree. I actually, when I was a kid, cocktail was my go-to.
What's that sign that says he was a noble man who ate the first oyster, or
brave man, I would say.
Brave man. That's what it was. Right? So we're here at Mogan's Oyster House. We have pie from the Ugly Pie. We have this is a beautiful crab cake. This isn't an ugly. This is so. I want to ask you about cocktail. Grace, I go all over state, and I have this love-hate thing with tartar sauce. I can only eat tartar sauce that doesn't taste like tartar sauce. Because tartar sauce belongs on a fish stick, not on a crab cake, right? But I get arguing with people online, and especially people in Baltimore, like, you ain't from Maryland if you're eating tartar sauce on a crab cake. And I'm like, well, why do 75% of the places I've been?
What do they eat on it? What do they eat on it?
Cocktail sauce in East Baltimore. Mustard traditionally in Baltimore with saltine crackers, and not a pretty crab cake like this. And I say this about my mother all the time. We grew up poor. We had claw meat, special meat. My mom would fry it like a coddy, and it looked like a little hockey puck. And we would serve them with saltines. I'm not a mustard eater, certainly not a French's mustard eater. Maybe some bougie Grey Poupon or something like that, or some dry mustard. I like it more as an adult, but I never ate it as a kid. But that's how it was served. Baltimore crab cakes are much saltier, much more J.O., Chesapeake Bay forward.
Right.
Eastern Shore crab cakes are much more delicate, much more creamy. A lot of cases this time of year sweeter and more. The meat comes right out of the water. So when you're eating an Eastern Shore crab cake, no offense to places in Baltimore or whatever, sometimes the meat literally came out of the water this morning.
Right.
It's just super duper duper fresh and female and roe involved in it. But cocktail, tartar, served in most of the places I've been. I've been over 100 places for crab cakes now in a year and a half, 100 different places.
We grew up with mustard. And
Mustard.
I'm from Princess Anne, which is just 13 miles south of here, Somerset County. And
Yellow mustard.
Yellow mustard. French's.
Fried, always fried
Yeah.
crab cakes?
Oh, yeah, or broiled. Mostly fried, but broiled too.
When you were younger, I bet they were all fried.
Yes, but now I like the crab cake for how it's prepared. And I can attest to Mogan's presentation as well as their food, because we're here almost once a week. And they treat you well, and they have great fare. And I'll tell you the story. The couple weeks ago, my son was here from Baltimore who worked at Riley's.
Oh, okay.
And the first thing he looked at on the menu was the oysters, of course. And he says, oh, PEI, I've got to have those. A dozen oysters came out. They were gone in under 15 minutes.
And he didn't have to pay $50 to get over the bridge.
No.
He didn't have to do that. But the cocktail and the tartar, and now the biggest thing's remoulade now, right? Like, and I love a remoulade, and I think it pairs really well with the crab. I'm not picky. A good cocktail, a good tartar, I'll take. But the way you're doing it doesn't allow for any of that. This is not that sort of thing. This is a different presentation.
It would be an odd addition, but we do have it if you want it.
No. I'm just saying you're pairing it with a squash and sort of a chicken stock. It's a different kind of presentation.
All of our menu is technique driven and for minimalist. Honestly, we really want to highlight the freshness of each individual ingredient and the flavor of each individual ingredient. We try to source as locally for veggie, for fish, for oysters, for anything that we can. We try to get as close to farm to table as we can, and it's one of the reasons that I absolutely love these things.
Well, I could hold it here all day, but I'm going to eat it.
You absolutely need to.
This last thing, the Restaurant Association of Maryland, in conjunction with Goodwill, Window Nation, and the Maryland Lottery, bring us together, put us on the tour here. I do want to talk about Restaurant Week and about I've had the mayor here. I've had representatives here, kindness people here. I've been all over the state. The pandemic, restaurants, curbside, small business, small local seafood business, the restaurant industry, for all of us who were trapped at home for whatever period of time we were, ordering food, keeping our favorite restaurant in business. I'll choke up and talk about my friends at Amici's, but I'm like, you better be here when this is over with. These meatballs have to be here. We have to support you. And that's what really got Baltimore Positive going. Like, that's the reason I'm sitting here right now, was the inspiration in the same way you were inspired by kindness. I was inspired by all the local businesses that had kept me in business the first 28 years. The reason I'm doing 31 is my 31st year in doing radio. So that's why I'm doing 31. So these last 2 years of doing this and hearing everyone's story, dude, you're an oyster house. You couldn't have people in here. People are going to curbside oysters, like curbsiding French fries, or there's certain things that didn't work well in a box to take home, right?
But Mike,
Agreed.
tell him what you did to accommodate your patrons. Look
got-
around.
I'm going to eat the crab cake while you
By
tell
all means.
stories.
We
Absolutely.
actually got pretty lucky on a couple of fronts. We opened in October of 19. So by the time, the world shut down,
You were barely.
barely open. I mean,
You've been open 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
You were just getting through the holidays. Probably doing well down in this.
We did no. The community
awesome.
has been amazing in support for us, and we couldn't ask for a better.
Well, you
community
come
to be
here
a
for
part
the
of.
first time and you get something like this, and you're like, "Oh, good. I got to go back." That's what you want.
That's what we go for. But yeah, so when everything happened and everything shut down, we were allowed to do the takeout first, which I can't thank everybody who bought from us enough for doing that and keeping us going. And then the next step was that outside dining was allowed, and we had just built that patio outside right before everything shut down. So we already had an outdoor place to put
So you didn't
people.
need a berm.
We didn't need a berm. We didn't need to, we luckily had the foresight to put an outdoor patio out before we needed one in that kind of way. And so we were able to seat that outside, and the folks next to us let us use their patio. The ice cream store next to us, 2 Scoops, they're great. Use them if you can.
If the mayor was here, I'd say to him, that's part of the beauty of all these communities is that everywhere I've gone in the last 2.5 years, I'm talking New York, Chicago, everywhere, the notion of the European part of outdoor dining and the safety of it and the, hey, man, we're out here mingling and people can talk a little bit. That's made America different. It's changed our country,
Yes.
really.
Yeah,
It's
really,
changed
no,
our
you're
culture.
absolutely right.
From Salisbury to Cumberland, from Baltimore to L.A., outdoor dining is,
It's much more of a thing.
and it'll never go back in.
Oh, I
In that way,
can't imagine.
we've become Europe in that way,
Yeah.
and that's every restaurant has had to adapt to that and accentuate that in some way, right?
Yeah.
It's different having a restaurant outside.
It's
Salisbury
completely
did a
different.
great job of it, I can tell you.
They really did.
Yes, and they popped up week after week. But what you did inside too, Mike, was made a big difference to Mike and me when we came to dine.
So one of the bigger things we did, I mean, you can still see them, the blue lights behind us. Those are all actually medical grade UV.
What?
Yeah, so we had those
They've
above
been in
the
the
bar.
shot the whole time.
Yeah, those are medical grade UV lights. So those are those are disinfecting the entire time it's
As I
happening.
crunch on an olive oil crouton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. I'm jealous of you eating it as I'm
Yeah.
This
watching
is
it.
delicious, but it's like so weirdly different.
It's different.
I mean,
no.
like when I say unique,
There's it's the tarragon. There's tarragon in that crab cake, and it brings out this juiciness in the crab. Like you get the flavor of the tarragon, and when it pairs with it, like I feel when I eat it, I feel like I can taste the juice of the crab kind of blossoming.
I had a
It's-
crab cake in Oxford last year that had dill in it. Like people just doing different things. I had a crab cake the other day in Potomac. It had celery in it. They treated it like a chicken salad,
Oh,
or
okay.
like a shrimp salad.
Okay.
It could be really good. Was it?
It wasn't bad.
It was different.
Yeah, it almost tasted like stuffing in some way, like a crab stuffing. I had a crab fluff at Schultz's in Essex the other day. I'm from East Baltimore. I don't think I've had a crab fluff in 40 years. And sometimes they'd be really greasy or like bad tempura, kind of weird. This was like a hush puppy of light, delicious. It was like a corn dog with a crab cake in the middle of it that was just. It just hit me right.
All
It
right.
hit everything.
I mean-
I took my son, his wife, and my wife. We're all sitting there eating, and we're like, this is weird, but it's really good, really differently. But it's not the crab cake at Old Salty's or at, at Suicide Bray or even at Fadley's. It's just different. And I said early on, a year and a half ago, when I dreamed this whole thing up, and I dreamed it up because of places like you that were shut down, I thought by the spring and the summer, people are going to want to get outside. They're going to want to go to restaurants, and politicians are going to want to talk, and business owners and kindness people. Like, I'm just going to be able to go out and do this again. And then we all got shut down again, right? And, I did it for a couple months when I saw you in the summer. We're all elbowing, and then we got shut down again. But I really do feel like we're getting to that blossom period again. And when people want to go out, they don't want to make the crab cake or the chicken or the steak. They can make it home on the grill.
No.
They want. I'll pay this a compliment, and you may take it as a little left-handed. This feels like an October crab cake to me. It feels like a harvest
Fall.
thing at the bottom.
Fall.
I'll take
Like
that.
it's harvesty. It's squashy and tomatoey and chicken stocky and I don't know.
I'll take all of
It's
that.
like setting a crab cake on top of a harvest stew.
A garden.
Like stew.
A garden. I like
Yeah,
that.
like a
Yeah.
harvest garden stew. Yeah. How's
No,
that? Is that good?
that's perfect. I
It's
love it.
Weird, but really, really
going on the
good,
website.
man. Really, really good. Mike's here. Mike Daly's here. Grace Foxwell Murdock is the queen of kindness. She is a secretary of kindness down here in Salisbury. She's given me all sorts of kind things to do. Kindness Palooza. Sunday, November 13th. Is that
Yes,
coming up?
World Kindness Day.
See, I thought the only Palooza was Chicken Palooza.
No,
from Royal
no.
Farms. I stopped at Rofo today. Why does the chicken taste better on the Eastern Shore? Can you explain this to me?
Because we grow them
Yeah, I
here.
was like, I guess
It's
they're here.
our industry-ness.
Yeah.
I got the Royal Farms chicken at Queen Anne's, and it's the second year in a row. I stopped in there, and I'm like, I'm going to get – because I get Royal Farms
They've
all
got
the
a
time.
great
I mean, they're my
recipe.
sponsor.
Are you kidding
I mean,
me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was wearing my Rofo shirt when I was up in Pittsburgh with the Steelers people the other day, and I'm like, man, you know what? I want to stop again. I wasn't even hungry, but I had some chicken for breakfast this morning because I was like,
Of course.
I don't get over here often, you know.
I have not fried chicken since Rofo came. Not going to do it.
That's amazing.
I had Max Weiss on last week from the Baltimore Magazine. I'm going back for the Best of Baltimore party on Thursday night. She doesn't like Western fries. And I talked to her, and I'm like, well, she's from New York. She's not really from Baltimore. But I give her a hard time. I'm like, how do you not like Western fries?
Yeah.
They're potatoey, and they're delicious.
I said, they're fried potatoes. What's wrong?
And they're salty.
As I sit here holding a pie, holding a crab cake, being an eating fiend, all of it's brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. All of the folks here down at Mogan's are going to enjoy this. We're in downtown Salisbury at the corner of a Division in Camden. They're building the DeLorean Tower over here, the town square. I'm going to bring the Coons Ford Bronco down here. The Maryland Lottery, in conjunction with our friends at Goodwill. I have my Window Nation hat over there. It's buy two, get two free all month long. I just had my new windows put in last week, so I'm very proud of Window Nation. So
I bet you are.
When I wear the hat, I look a little bit like I'm dealing cards at the club. So, yes, but I will wear this. I was going to wear the snakehead fishing. And our friends at the Restaurant Association of Maryland and Restaurant Week, again, back to restaurants and Restaurant Week and supporting restaurants and being a part of this. September 16th to the 25th, be doing it all over the state. Gives people like you a chance. You show off. Everybody shows off during Restaurant Week, right?
I mean, that's what we're here for. That's
Right.
we want you to come in. We want to be able to show off for you. We want to let you know that you're not just our guest, but you're a friend. You're somebody we want.
You haven't
here.
even handed me a menu yet, man. You've been bringing me all this food. If I'm here, what am I going to order that's not this crab
Menu.
cake or oysters? Yeah,
Man, I'll say.
I looked online,
Thank you.
but I did not physically get them. I was so busy. Draft beer selection,
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm very proud of our draft beer selection.
I may.
I'll say we've got a Burnish on there too. We have a fantastic relationship with Burnish. I love those guys.
I'm going over to the motherland tonight.
Oh, you're
Am I
going to
gonna
love
get
every
the
second
peach
of it.
socks there?
You are, and that's fun because we actually have a fun little deal with them that we have a good enough relationship that they'll give us beers that they only sell there. So you can get that here and you can get that there, and that's it.
All right, let's go with this here, man. Smoked fish dip, avocado citrus salad, double crunch wedge, bluefin
The tartar. You're going to love the tartar. You'd absolutely get that. I would
See,
make
this
sure.
is the problem with this crab cake tour. I have to get the crab cake, but we've been trying to get one other thing.
Oh, man.
The other night we were in Northeast at Woody's. If you've ever been up 95, you see the little Woody sign. Northeast, beautiful little town. We went in there and we got the triple crab. We got crab cake, the crab imperial, which also had like a dill thing. It was a little different. It was really weirdly different. And then we got crab au gratin because I thought
Interesting.
cheese with it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Why not
I
cheese?
mean.
So we got it, and then she ordered the crab soup. We had a half and half crab, cream of crab. They call it bisque at Schultz's in Essex. And Maryland, we did half and half. It's probably the best thing I put in my mouth this month, and I've been putting a lot of good things in my mouth this month.
I saw that recently at somewhere else too, and that blew my mind. I thought it was fantastic.
From Oysters, grilled, fried. I had the most delicious fried oyster at Fadley's about a month, and I never order fried oysters. And I told Damie this. I'm too busy on the crab cakes, the French fries, the coleslaw, the corn on the cob, the oyster, whatever, to order a fried oyster. It would be my least desirable way to maybe order it.
Okay.
I've already ordered char grilled here. If you shucked them, I would sit here and eat them. I'd dump cocktail on them. But getting around to the fried oyster, it's never at the front of the menu, so it moves to the back of the line.
Uh-huh.
She brought me 3 of them out that she pan-fried in Fadley's, and I don't think I'd had a fried oyster in 20 years, right, literally. And I was like, why don't I eat more? I may have enjoyed those 3 oysters more than any raw or char grilled.
I love our fried oysters. I think they're absolutely amazing.
What do you serve them with?
They're on the menu. They're listed as buffalo fried oysters. So it comes with
Honey
our
hot sauce.
Honey hot sauce, which is our house made. It is one of the best hot sauces I've ever had. I love our hot sauce. It comes with some crumbled blue cheese on
Can
it
I
as
come
well.
back tomorrow?
I insist that you do.
All right, good.
Yeah. And then you can also get them plain if you'd like, and we'll serve them with whatever dipping sauce you ask for.
Fontina Bay biscuits,
Yeah.
Old Bay and honey butter biscuits.
Delicious.
Oh yeah, those are fantastic.
This is why I come to joints
and those
like
are made
this.
to order too.
Yeah.
My appreciation to the folks here at Mogan's, to Mike and to Grace and to Mayor Jake Day. Everybody's been great here. Noe, Reagan met us at the door, helped us get in here, and of course Carl Anderton, who didn't inspire the whole thing, but he came up to me soaking wet at the Preakness, and he's like, "You got to come back to Salisbury, dude. I'm Eastern Shore. I'm Comico County. Don't forget about us on the tour."
That's
and
Carl.
I'm like, okay, man, I'll come down, cornbread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but thank you very, very
No,
much.
thank
man.
you. I appreciate
Honest
you.
Oysters happening down here, Shooting Points, Mall Peak. PEI, all the good stuff happening. And I would encourage everyone, one of the things I've learned on this tour is what a beautiful state we have. And I can stand up and, fly the Maryland flag and say all that, but I've literally driven – I'm not everywhere, but almost everywhere now. 2 years. We've taken all different roads this time just to take different roads.
I love that.
Yeah, and we're just trying to experience it all, meet new people, and find new places. I'm sure we'll find more new places down here in Salisbury. They're advancing it along here. We're going to be on Friday down in Ocean City at the Convention Center. Ben Cardin's going to join us. Heather Mazier, who's trying to get elected here. Please, I won't be endorsing many people, but Heather's got an endorsement from me. We'll see her on Friday. Our next governor, Wes Moore, will be with us on the 30th at Costas, and then next week we will be in Eldersburg on Wednesday at Liberatori's with my childhood friend Dante Liberatori. I was at Lib's Grill in Bel Air the other night. Congratulations to Nick and everybody there. And then we're going to be on Friday at Rock Salt Grill with Lee and his wife Susan. I have not been to their place. I've heard great things about their crab cake. We'll be in Westminster next Friday. Marshall Weston from the Restaurant Association of Maryland will join us. We'll talk about Restaurant Week and why and how and all that good stuff. And whew, man, I got to get checked in here in Salisbury and start drinking some beer. We're going to Evolution. We're going to Burnish. I might be coming back here for dinner before we get succotash before it's all over with. And the snakehead fishing with my pal Sammy Tudor, wishing him well and getting well soon from his COVID battle. Signing off. Am I allowed to sign off and eat this? I got to eat this.
I insist. Go, please.
I mean, this is getting cold.
Go
Yeah.
nuts.
Go for it.
Now, I'm going to tell you
What do
something
you need
that's
me
going
to
to
say?
freak you out, all right? Because that's what I learned about crab cakes a little bit. I consider her the queen, kind of like I consider you the queen of Salisbury. She resembles you a little bit. Nancy Devine is the matriarch at Fadley's at Lexington Market. You've seen her if you've seen Guy Fieri or any of Andrew Zimmer, and they all go and eat with her, right? And her crab cake, if you've ever had the Fadley's crab cake, either one of you, very, very mustard forward.
Okay.
Delicious. Like unique. There's no other place that serves it like that, okay? So she served it to me, and we got to BSing, and she's a storyteller. She's a serious.
Like her already.
She's a beautiful woman, Nancy. And she's telling me stories and punishing me and give me a hard time and slapping my hands and bringing the crab meat and showing me jumbo lump and, all this stuff. And the crab cake was sitting here getting cold. And I said to her, I'm like, Nancy, we got to go, man. I got to eat this crab cake. She's cold. She's like, all right, I'm going to tell you a little secret about crab cakes. You perfect crab cake, you don't want it hot. You want it room temperature. The crab takes on it's like drinking wine. That's what she told me.
How about that?
Now, I didn't believe her. I thought she's patronizing me. Literally, I thought she was patronizing me because my crab cake's already cold, right? And she would heat it up as you would heat it up.
Of course.
Right, whatever. I was at a place the other day, and they went to put my crab cake in a microwave.
Oh.
No, thank you.
I'm not kidding. That happened to me. So she gave me a couple crab cakes to go a couple months later because I'm always there doing a show. I do a show every couple months there. We'll be there again next month, too. We love it. So does John Sarbanes, by the way. I took the crab cakes home, and I reheated it. And I'm such a workhorse that I'll reheat my peach bread and bring it up and sit there and it gets stone cold. My coffee gets stone cold. I talk, or even when I'm not talking, I'm thinking and I'm not eating. It got cold when I brought it home, and I ate it at room temperature,
And
it tasted so much better.
okay.
I mean,
It just did.
Good to
And I
know.
had to
Yeah,
admit
right?
that to her. and when I went to her, and I'm bad children, I'm like, all right, you were right. Crab cakes are better at room temperature. So there's a little hint, okay?
I would say
I don't
that's-
say that in every segment. So this is room temperature, and it will be delicious. So don't cry for me. On behalf of everybody here, including Brad, I want to say thank you to Brad, too.
of course, absolutely. I'll make sure he
Yes.
does.
Mogan's Oyster House down here in Salisbury. Come support them. Support everybody during Restaurant Week. And whatever you do, Grace, tell them, kindness.
Yes.
Kindness.
And National Folk Festival here next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And on November 13th, come and dance with us for Kindness Palooza.
Awesome.
Only Secretary of Kindness I've ever had on the show.
I
I'm
mean-
looking to meet more Secretaries of Kindness. Baltimore Positive rolls on. We're in Salisbury, moving to Ocean City, and moving from Camden Yards to Owings Mills with Luke as well. We're WNST AM 1570. We never stop talking Baltimore Positive and kindness from Salisbury.